Okay, so we're going. We're not doing what was planned. Which worked out that we have a shorter thing because this is a shorter thing, and I have an agenda, but I'm not going to reveal it till after we go through the pesukim. Okay. What was it?
Hidden agenda.
Yeah, it's a hidden agenda.
Did you
Yes.
realize that you did a process yesterday right after Shlach?
I did not realize that.
You did.
That worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay, so we're in Mishlei Perek Lamed, and we're going to do pesukim Zion through Tes.
Oh.
Yeah, Lamed. Yeah. What do you think it was?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. Lamed's the one that comes before Aleph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wait.
Pasuk Zion. Yeah. So this is these are the pesukim of Agur ben Yakeh, who plain shot is Idish Shlomo Melech. It's just a nickname for him. Koheles means the gatherer, and Agur means the gatherer, and Ben Yakeh means that the son of the vomiter, which is a really weird statement. And like it's I think the plain shot is like it's a term of like humility that he basically, even though he was the wisest of all people, he was just gathering chachma and then just regurgitating it. Like he's not actually like doing any chiddush, you know. And if you got chiddush in your regurgitation, then there's a problem. It's probably body parts. Yeah. Okay. So this is the Zion, Tes, and Tes are related. So he says, "Shtaim sha'alti me'ita." So he's talking to Hashem. There are two things that I ask from you. Al timna mimeni. Do not withhold them from me b'terem amut, before I die. Okay. So there are going to be these two things. Okay. And as I read this thing, you tell me what the two things are. Okay. Shav v'davar kazav harchek mimeni. Shav is here, let's say like, I know article translates as like vanity, but not like being vain. It means like nothingness, you know? And kazav and davar kazav is a matter of falsehood. Harchek mimeni, distance from me. Reish v'osher al titen li, do not give me poverty or wealth. Hatri feni lechem chuki. It's hard to translate hatri feni like in like English because the short is trefa, which doesn't really fit. Provide me with my daily bread. Okay, lechem chuki, like my daily bread is how that's translated. Okay, pen esba v'chichashti, lest I become satiated and deny you. The amarti mi Hashem, and I say, who is Hashem? Ufen ivaresh v'ganavti v'tafasti shem Elokai, or lest I become poor and steal and take the name of my God. And plain shot is take the name of God in vain when I have to like swear that I didn't steal. Okay, so what are the two things he's asking for? So Shlomo or Agur, I guess, is talking to Hashem.
Not to be too rich.
Okay.
And not to be too poor.
Okay. So that's one interpretation, right? Not to be too rich and not to be too poor. Okay. What?
Honesty and the middle road.
Okay, yeah. So the question is, he says four things, right? He says, vanity and falsehood distance from me, and then wealth and poverty don't give me. So the question is like, is wealth and poverty don't give me, are those the two requests? Like, don't give me wealth and don't give me poverty. And then you have to explain what's the vanity and falsehood. Or is it that don't give me vanity and falsehood, I want to be like on the middle path there, and then like the bread, you know, the wealth and poverty thing is like a different thing, you know? So, and then obviously like the Hachifin lechem chuki, give me my daily bread, that just seems to be like the middle path for the wealth and poverty thing. But then the question is like, does that relate to the vanity and falsehood thing also? Okay, yeah. So in the interest of time, because we have a short amount of time, we're not going to work on this like figuring it out on our own. So I want to show you so there's two interpretations. There's the Metzudas David, who's going to take it as plain shot, okay, and just make sure we get that. And then there's the Ralbag, who's going to take it as a metaphor, okay. So look at the Metzudas David, and I don't think this is that like deep, or I mean, if it is, then I don't see it. But so he says on Zion, we're just going to go through it for shot. So he says, Ata yidaber mul hamakom baruch hu. Now he is speaking vis-a-vis God. V'amar shnei devarim ani shoel mimcha v'al timna'im mimeni. And he says, I'm asking two things from you that you do not withhold from me before I die. Meaning, all the days of my life, do not withhold it from me. Okay, meaning he's not saying like, I just want this at some point before I die. He means like from now until my death, then I want this to be the case. Okay. Shav davar kazav, he. It means the same thing, okay? The shemos near dafim, and he repeats it with synonyms. Kamo admas afar, like the dust of the earth. Okay, so it's just the repetition. So he's not learning that it's different. Harchek Ratzalomer Tain Belibi Ladaber MS Ulamais Besheker. Instill in my heart the I guess the trait of speaking truthfully and rejecting falsehood. So he's learning that as one request. So this is gonna be like the way Isaac was saying it. Hatrifeni, and then what does it mean like provide for me? Parnaseni, provide for me a livelihood of ma'achal katzuv de hasipuk lahachios hanefesh v'lo yoser, with enough of an amount to give life to my soul. Nefesh here does not mean like soul, it means like to be alive. V'lo yoser, not more. Okay, then pen esba, lest I become sated. Rotalomar ki kishihi li osher rav, meaning if I have a lot of wealth, pen esba bioser, lest I become satiated, the esgae, and I'll become haughty, the efachesh bar Hashem, and I will deny Hashem, velomar, and say, mi Hashem klomar ein Elokim, and he'll say, who is Hashem, meaning to say that there's no God. Okay, so that's like the classic problem of like, classic problem of yeah. That's a timing. We're on 37 through 9. Okay, and we're just doing pshat right now. So that's the classic problem of like you become wealthy and you attribute all your success to yourself, and then you are effectively denying God, right? So then pen ivaresh, lest I become poor. Vim ehye ani, and I'm doing just W right now. Vim ehye ani pen kishe ehye rosh bioser egnov hon lamalos nafshi hamis aves the espos befi lahazkir es shem Hashem ulihishabeh bo al sheker. So if I become poor, I will steal. It's funny he says I'll steal in order to satisfy my taiva. You would think you would be stealing in order to get like your actual livelihood, but I think we can answer this. And then I will become caught. I'll get caught, and then I'll have to mention the name of Hashem and swear falsely. So I guess this is an insight. So why is he saying if I become poor, I'll steal to satisfy my my taivas?
But
Yeah.
It says limlos nafshi hatagos. Maybe it means like it's physical.
That could be. You could just say it's his physical needs. You mean, you know? Yeah. I just don't know why he puts into the mis avis. Yeah, you could. It's a simpler explanation. Yeah.
It could be that you'll start off just doing it for your needs.
Yeah.
And it'll end up becoming like something you want.
Okay. So I agree with that, but I think I'm gonna put it in a different way, which might be a different idea. We'll see. Is that the part of this request is not only that God give him the quantity of food that he needs to sustain himself, but that he enable him to actually relate to his needs as needs and not miscalibrate them. Meaning that part of this request is that I don't get into that state where I think I'm just doing this for my needs, but then I'm actually just giving it to my taivas. You know? Okay, so that's plain shot. Again, I don't think there's anything like fancy here. Any questions or like problems? Okay, so now let's go to questions and problems. No, let's go to Rabag now. Okay, so Rabag takes this, and Rabag does this a lot. I don't know how much we've seen this, but he will often take things like the Meiri's Derech Nitzer. He'll take this as a oh, you know what the Rabag is, right? Yeah. He'll take this as a oh yeah, sorry, you guys don't know what the Rabag is. Okay, so they print it in the back for some reason. You got a page number?
Yeah.
Oh, I put a bookmark there.
Oh,
yeah, sorry. You know, sometimes you just gonna roll us into a lot, and I prepare ahead of time. Just forget. So he takes it about the pursuit of Hakama. Okay, and I first heard this from Rebbe. I don't remember what his idea was, but it had impact. So he says like this: Shtaim Shalti, Zion. Amar ze Hakam midaber el Hashem yisbarach shtei she'elos shalti mitach. So this Chacham, because I guess he's not taking a stance on whether this is Shlomo, speaks to Hashem two requests. He says to Hashem two requests. That I ask from you. Don't withhold him from me before I die. Okay, we're going to get stoic here for a second. Because you can't get perfected after death.
A little different.
Oh yeah? What does yours say? He's sigu b'chayav.
I might not be different. Might not matter.
Yours is more right though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Read yours again. So he can't get perfection that he didn't attain in life.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I don't think it substantially changes here, but let me know if you have differences. Okay, so in other words, the only place you can perfect yourself is in this life, and so it has a different type of urgency than the giving me my daily bread in the flame shot is throughout the course of my life. I just don't want to be put into a position where I have to steal or become haughty. Here it's saying basically I can only perfect myself in this life. So provide me that. Okay. Shav, yeah,
And this is saying before I die.
before I die, right? Meaning because once I die, then it cuts off that possibility. Yeah, yeah. Here the emphasis is on the death being an endpoint of this opportunity or this this benefit. Okay, Shavadavar Kazav Harakik Mini. So this is where it gets interesting. So Shavadavar Kazav Harakik Mini Bahasa Gotzai, in my ideas, in my knowledge, in my apprehensions. Okay, Shavadavar Kazav Shalo Eshtabish the Esbalbel Be'iyuni. So he's asking that I not become confused or mixed up in my analysis. V'shelo yihye iyuni b'devarim hevel she'en lo metzius, and that my study shouldn't be in things that are hevel, that have no existence. Okay, it's the worst thing when you devote your life to studying something that doesn't exist. Okay, yeah, it's pretty bad. V'yidme shiramas b'shav el mashu sheker. So with the word shav, he's alluding to that which is false. V'davar kazav el mashu hevel, and kazav is referring to something non-existent. Okay, meaning like you could be inquiring into something that just doesn't exist, like I don't know, like the active intellect, and that's not a dig at the Rambam, but happens to work out. Yeah, or it could be something that's just false, like pursuing a false idea in regards to something that actually does exist.
But isn't that?
I mean, maybe it's the same thing.
Yeah. Doesn't
Yeah.
that idea not exist?
Right. Okay, so maybe that's a bad example that I gave. Meaning, like, let's say, for example, you could be studying physics and you're studying real existing things, but then you just are pursuing a false path, but the thing you're investigating is actually real. And then there are other things you can be investigating where the entire thing you're investigating is false. Like, let's say, like, Vodazar. Let's say, like, you're studying, Jesus as the Son of God. Like, that's just a complete fantasy, right? Okay. Yeah.
I was thinking of like Bigfoot academics.
Yes, that's another. That'd be a good example. Yeah. Okay. And then but here's how it shows you he doesn't really care so much. Oh, hefez, or the opposite. Okay, meaning like he doesn't really care like how it is. Okay. The reason why a person would analyze something that doesn't exist but he thinks it exists, so it could be because your imaginative faculty becomes confused. Or someone told him a falsehood, or you inherited false opinions from other people. Okay, so that's his first request. Okay, don't let me fall in my investigation into something that is not real. Okay, yeah.
If this is do investigations into whether a thing is real or not fall into this category?
I don't think so. I think that would be a legitimate investigation, or like a good kind of investigation, and that's probably what the fulfillment of this bakasha would likely take, of like helping him to clarify in his searching for what's worthy of investigation and it's not. Okay. Second thing, Vashela Hashenis, who he shalotitingly oni vidalus bedeos lakater bedeos masha efshar la'adam hatagaso. So the second one is, don't give me poverty in ideas to be deficient in the ideas that it's possible for a person to get. Okay. In other words, if you're investigating an area, there's a certain amount that you could grasp, and he's asking Hashem to don't let him fall short of that, meaning help me to grasp whatever truth I can grasp. Okay, and below li gamkein osher, don't give me wealth. Now, what's that going to be, right? Because you think that more knowledge is good. Lefanos lihispakim b'mesh she'in la'adam hasagaso, to try to make himself wise in what a person can't understand. So, in other words, help me to not fall short of the mark in terms of my mind can perceive a certain truth. Don't let me fall short of that mark, but also don't let me overestimate what I can actually know and go beyond the reach of my mind. Okay, which is a big problem.
Things that you can't know.
Right, or you're studying things that you can't know, and it's similar to the problem from before. But here, the things actually do exist. Right. The knowledge is there, but you're just going beyond your capacities, And it doesn't necessarily mean like, obviously, this is something that changes at your different levels of development. Like this could be, I don't want to investigate something prematurely when I'm not ready to handle it, Right. Okay. Then he concludes by saying, hashpia li bedeot hamazon. Give me my nutritious knowledge. Okay. Haroi l'sichlam. Does yours say sichlo? Sickly. Okay, that's even better. Right, give me what my intellect needs for its nutrition. Lo pachot v'lo yoser, not less and not more. Okay, v'zos be'emes hi she'ela gedola. That's a huge question, a huge request. Lo yitachen shimsa ish yagia eleha ba'alafim min ha. What does that next word say there?
Shanim?
Mine says habeis.
What?
Alafim min hashanim. That makes a lot more sense.
Maybe Shnaim? There's yeah. Well, ours is Shanim. Maybe here's the thing.
Yeah. You have no clue what this is. I think Shani makes sure a person's not going to get it one in many years, I guess. About who roy shishtadol kol echad mehanashim hama'ainim bezeh kecheskas hayad. Every person needs to strive for this according to his ability. Okay, so it means it's very hard to attain this level where you're not exceeding your intellectual boundaries and you're not being lazy or deficient in them. Okay, yeah. And then okay, hold on. Should we read this next one? I actually forgot to read this one when I was preparing because I just prepared right before the bris. Pen espa. Let's try this out. Okay, pen espa, lest I become satiated. So lest I become satiated in trying to get wise in something I can't actually get wise in. Omer mi hu Hashem yis'aleh. Mahu, meaning lest I say what is Hashem. Okay, you know what? We can go into this later if we have time. Okay, I don't want to exceed my intellectual boundaries here. Wait, as it comes back, this is getting to the main point now. Yeah. So before I get any questions on the way he's doing this interpretation here, like just to review the thing, he's asking, don't let me fall. One request is don't let me investigate things that don't exist and get carried away by imagination or falsehood. The other one is don't help me meet the mark in terms of what my intellect can handle and what I'm ready for, not to fall short and not to get, not to try to exceed my intellectual limits.
What's the relationship in those two things?
The two requests?
Yeah.
I think because both of them are avenues which would be not giving your intellect that which it needs. One would be actively feeding it like falsehood, by giving it non-existences, like apprehending non-existent things and thinking that they're real. And the other would be in the realm of knowledge, making mistakes because you are deficient or excessive, Yeah.
Is the second in the like let's say you overextend your boundaries.
Yeah.
Like is that going to lead you to perceive things that don't exist?
That's definitely possible. And to deny things that do exist.
Right.
And I think I'm guessing that that's where he was going in the Ralbag that I stopped reading just now. We'll have to see afterwards. Of like denying Hashem, and then stealing would be, if I had to guess this, stealing stuff and then swearing in the name of Hashem might be a muscle for like obtaining things that really are not real, in some way. That could also lead to falsehood, but we'll see what he actually says. Yeah. Racism? No? Okay. All right. So now let's put this aside and get to my agenda. Okay. So here's my agenda. So preface, when we did Tehillim 118, I don't know who I'm pointing to, then no, it wasn't Tehillim 118. It was Tehillim 116. Then we said that one of the ways to develop your relationship with Hashem is to give public gratitude. So I didn't realize until the end of shiur last night that last night's Mishlei was my 150th Mishlei shiur, okay, of the year. Yeah. So I was thinking about it today, and it was different. So what I was thinking about was the fact that it's learning Mishlei is one thing, but like learning Mishlei daily is a completely different experience, because the key of Mishlei is you're not just getting isolated ideas, but you are incorporating them into the way you think about the day. And that's why learning Mishlei at the beginning of the day tends to be better than learning at the end of the day. I mean, you learn Mishlei whenever you can, but like, is that you're incorporating it into your daily routine and then going off into your day with Mishlei, having like jump started the Mishlei like thinking, in the beginning of the day. So what I was thinking about was that I was these pesukim suddenly came to mind this morning, when I was feeling this gratitude, and I realized two things. Okay, number one, and I still am in disbelief about this, that I get to do this for a living, this year at least, and that given all of my my anxieties about how this year was going to turn out in terms of like making a living, the fact that I get to like literally just be involved in knowledge, and specifically Mishlei, and get my lechem chuki and get my daily bread, that's like a very, very great thing that I'm extremely grateful for to Hashem. But then the other thing was, part of what you guys are in right now, the stage that you guys are in yeshiva and in learning is, you're in the training stage. Like not that training ever stops, but like you're in the primary thing that you're doing right now is like training your mind and getting the knowledge and skills that are going to form a basis for your actual like life of learning outside of yeshiva, whenever that starts. So like it's the training phase, and like in the training phase, you're not going to be so focused on the question I'm about to say or on the issue I'm about to say. So the big thing though is like, so the thing I'm talking around this point. It's hard to know, especially when you're in the training phase, what the limitations of your intellect are, and like what you can handle and what you can't handle. And everyone has different like areas that they're drawn towards, and everyone has different like things that they're capable of. And some people can get like to a certain level of success in a certain area, and like some people that's just beyond their reach, and that's like kind of I think what Shlomo is saying according to the Ralbag is like, and especially you can imagine this must be hard for Shlomo if like God says I'm going to give you more wisdom than anyone. Like, how do you know what your limits are in terms of your knowledge? And it's very easy for him to go beyond his limit, and he did. That's what led him to make a mistake of assuming that he had more self-knowledge, and like that led him to violate certain mitzvot. So the other thing I'm thankful for, not only that, like there's a lot of stuff in terms of my own potentials and capacities that I don't know, but I do know one thing, which is I know that I know how to learn Mishlei, and I know that Mishlei is good for me. I know it's nutrition for my mind, and I know that it's something that like right now I feel like I feel like I'm at the point where I am this she'ela is being satisfied. Like I don't think I'm exceeding my bounds in Mishlei, because I've been very mindful to try to not learn Mishlei with Rashi like I'm not ready for Mishlei with Rashi yet. And I think that this year having 150 Mishlei shiurim has really helped me to also like develop what my derech has been that I haven't been able to do in high school so much, because we weren't learning it in high school. It was like more of a one-directional thing of just like presenting what I've known. Whereas here, I feel like we're really learning Mishlei every day, And so the fact that like the shot and the allegory have actually intersected in my life in a way where I'm getting my lechem chuki through Mishlei, and I'm getting my lechem chuki through Mishlei, I think is really cool and worthy of hoda'ah. And the reason why I'm saying this to you, other than just using you as a vehicle for publicly expressing gratitude to Hashem, is that I hope that you guys find your lechem chuki in your relationship with learning. And it might not be one thing, like it could be like lots of stuff, like but like I think that that's something that like I think there's a big thing when you're in. I can't speak for other yeshivas, but in YBT. I think there's like certain models of what a relationship to Hakama looks like. And there's a lot of pressure to become that. And I experienced that, maybe I'm just projecting, but I experienced that and my friends experienced that when we were in yeshiva of like, we have to become Rav Pesach, we have to become Chaim Soloveitchik, you have to become like, and like that is not what Shlomo was asking for. Shlomo was asking for not exceeding what his own mind and potential are capable of, but not being deficient of it. Like, so I think like when you're asking, so I actually, when I was thinking about this morning, I actually put this bakasha into my atachon l'adam da'as, because I think it's actually a bakasha that you should ask at every step of your learning, that at each step of your learning, then God not provide you with poverty or wealth in your learning, because that's going to be bad for you either way. And like to give you your daily bread, and then be open to the fact that your daily bread might shift as your development shifts. So that's what I want to say. I know this is not our typical learning Mishlei shiur, but like I felt like I had to express it. So sorry if this came off more shiuri than than usual, but I had to express it. And this is like it just hit me with the realization of 150 last night, So all right. Yeah.
Would you also put it in RF?
Yes. Yeah.
The same
thing, because it's
applies
to both. Yeah. right. Yeah. And that's the weird thing about the way that it's phrased in the pasuk, is the shav davar kazav harchak mimeni. Reish Osher Al Titain Li. I mean, if you say it in the shot, it becomes kind of funny. Then the essence is really Reish Osher Al Titain Li, Hachivin Lechem Kuki, and the Shav Devar Kazav is like recognizing. I mean, this ties to a Mishlei puzzle that we had before. Is if you're not getting your financial needs taken care of, it could push you into other bad actions and bad decisions and bad meetups. So that part of the request, I don't know if that's Roy for Baruch Aleno, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Can we just finish this Ralbag really quickly? We have like 3 minutes. Okay. Pen esbal he's talking about Mishlei uchal lahasigo v'omer mihu Hashem yisala ratzlor mahu. So if I basically exceed my intellectual limitations in a way that I can't do, I'm on test. Then I'll say, who is Hashem, meaning what is he? V'zeh davar lo yitachin. Oh, okay, that makes much more sense. That I'll investigate his essence. And that makes a lot more sense about what he's going to say. V'zeh davar lo yitachin sheyusag elel Hashem yisala. The only one who can know that is Hashem. Ulazeh is Tavo. Tavi. Okay, fine. Yeah, all right. Yours is better. Tavi. Zot hachakira el she'echachesh ve'ese elo ese eloa. Midavar bilti nimsa. So then what's going to happen is I'm going to make a god out of something that doesn't exist. Bilti nimsa kain, who doesn't exist like that. Kishe'echayev le'elu mahus bilti nimsa. When I attribute him an essence that is non-existent, that doesn't really exist in reality. And then I'll come to deny God, and believe someone else other than him. So that's what he's saying here. Meaning, I'll end up doing a double whammy of badness. I'll end up arriving at a false idea of God, and by embracing that idea, I'll be denying the true idea of God. I'll come to not arrive at the truth that there's a God who creates all of existence. Ava she'egnov eloka mihanimsaos ve'omer she'ein sham eloa kamo shahaya omer apikoros v'siato. So I'll basically steal from other existences, meaning attribute divinity to them. Ve'echshav kilot tafasti, like Epicurus did. Ve'echshav kilot tafasti b'zeh im Hashem levad ki anikra bo ein lo metzius v'hi ezeh yoser kasha b'ofen ma mimashi yagia mehefsed b'sibas hischakim yoser mimash roy. Okay, fine. So it's going to get to a much worse state off than I would have been in before had I not exceeded my intellectual boundaries. All right, fine. Very well again. Yeah. Okay. I'll stop here for today. Yep.
So,
Thank you.
You're welcome.